Meeting to order is the Inland Wetlands Agency, the Town of Woodbridge. It's Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. We have a few things on the agenda this evening. First item under new business is 10 Sperry Road, application for installation of dual-access solar PV tracker in designated upland review area. Is anyone here on that application this evening? You are. You want to just come on up and just have a seat and sign in? And just tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Hi, I'm Chris. Let me just sign in. I was told that you guys were provided copies of the site map.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were just hoping to get solar panels, and this one is very similar to the man on Route 67 that has one, but it'll be a little smaller in size than his. And I think the location that the company would like to put it is more in the backyard. It's not as visible from the street as Victor's is.
Okay. Looks like it's fairly far from the wetlands area, right, Chris? Or
It's almost at the outer edge of it. It's like 83 feet from where we can tell.
all right, and then the only other thing would be just the trench to have the conduit go to the house from the tracker.
I was told that was minimal, maybe 18 inches max.
It's not rain.
Yeah. Seems like something we could delegate to Chris. What's everybody think?
Yeah, I agree.
Is there any recent, well, fine, I have nothing to say, thank you.
Anybody else have any thoughts on this? It does seem like is this in a grassed area that's already been mowed and it's not a wetland, I mean, not a wooded area?
Yeah, it's a dry section, and it's not near the brook. It's in the other end of the yard, so.
Okay.
And it's in a lawn
Yeah,
area.
yeah. That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
All right, then do we have a motion to delegate this to Chris? Jack moved, second, David, second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, abstentions? So basically, by delegating it to Chris, she can issue a decision. We'd have to wait another month before we could decide if we felt we needed to take a look at things. So you could just talk to Chris next, later this week, well, maybe not next week, but soon, and she'll issue a permit for it, okay?
Okay,
All right?
thank you.
Okay, that was easy enough. Thanks. All right, moving right along. Next item on the agenda, 20 Dales Drive, application for residential site development of lot involving a wetlands crossing. Mr. Shepherd, you have the floor.
For the record, it's Alan Shepard, professional engineer partner in the firm of Nowakarski, Opie Machow, and Kane, 415 Howe Avenue, Shelton, Connecticut. And this is a parcel that we worked on, it's a rear lot off of Dales Drive. We worked on that maybe 15, 18 years ago. I think we got approval for it, but I'm not quite sure. But it does have a little part of wetlands, as you can see on the map, for the driveway entrance. Back then, my field crew was concerned about it, so we had Cynthia Rabinowitz go out, and she said it was a wetland, and that's why we flagged it like that. It wasn't on the original subdivision map, and I don't believe it was a original wetland at the time of the subdivision. I think because of the grading of the houses and everything, the land just got disturbed and some water pocketed there, So, we'd like to fill in that part. I have the details of the stone blanket that we'd put in there. It's like 400 square feet to get access to the property. The rest of the property is dry, and we have the stormwater management plan and everything to go along with it.
Does that area drain to any place in particular, or is it?
What I proposed years ago, and I haven't changed it since then, we looked at it, right, was to put a depression in the front yard for water quality volume. I got a structure in the front yard there, just so it's a little bit of grading. And then I have, it's a flat driveway pretty much, but I have a drainage system that ties into the town drainage system. We have the stone blanket for the wetlands, and so we'll, you know, store that water, then bring it out to the street drainage. Won't affect the downhill neighbors. And as you can see, I got the septic down and back. And, you know, the rest of the site, the rest of the houses are already developed. Dale's Drive was developed like in '86, and this is like a leftover. It was on the market, off the market, on the market, so I guess we're here now.
Okay. Yeah, it does look fairly flat, not much of
Yeah.
a grade.
This is gonna be a paved driveway? Past the-
It'll probably be paved. The houses out there, you know, most likely it'll be paved.
Is there actually any pipe or channel under the driveway?
I'm proposing that.
Oh, that's what's drawn here, okay.
Yeah,
I
because-
just couldn't figure out where it was gonna go.
Yeah, if we have the driveway in there, I like to have it stable. I think the land just got disturbed with surfactant soil. So, if we put the stone blanket down with the filter fabric around it, that'll be pretty stable. And then I got some, drains to go out. And, I spec out tight joint pipe too at the end of it. But the lower part will drain out, so it's all, you know, spec out. We'll do that first.
This driveway is what, it's an easement between the two properties, or it's right on the property line?
It's right on the property line, but we can get the work, because it's pretty flat, we have it staked out in the field, we can do it right on our property. There's no grading proposed to speak of. And we did field check all the topos, it's field shot.
Anyone else? Chris, you have any thoughts on this, or it doesn't look very complicated?
It's not
It-
complicated, but because it is
It-
involving a wetlands, you've gotta
Yep.
sit on it for a
Yeah.
month.
Steven, any comments?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So, do you intend to, is there going to be any culverting
Yes.
at the, where is that on the?
Okay. If you see in the front yard, there's a culvert, and on the details we have, details of that. But the culvert will be right here.
Okay,
So we'll depress the front yard, I've done this before.
but I'll tell you what, I appreciate that, but that's not the area, I guess, of my concern, or our concern. Is there gonna be any culverting down at the end of the driveway in the wetland area? Do you intend to fill those two areas on, at the driveway that are that depicted as wetlands?
Yeah, this on our driveway will fill. but not
Wetland
off the
4,
property.
wetland flag 4, 3, 2, 1, and then wetland flag number 8.
I will have under drains on the driveway that will tie into the storm drain system. The drainage for the front yard will go alongside, and that'll be tight joint right there.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking is it's a pity, because what do you say, you're gonna fill 400 square feet?
Yeah.
So it sounds like a little, it's not a lot,
Right.
but boy, I wish there was some property on the space, I wish there was some space on the property where you could give us 400 square feet back of, where you could recreate wetlands that you're filling at the end of the driveway. So that's my attitude about this. I will not vote against your proposal because of that, but what are your thoughts about that?
And I'll explain that. That's why I went with the yard surface, stormwater management and not a gallery system, right? I took the front yard, we'll grade it, just minimal grade it. If you don't know that if you don't know what I'm doing, you won't know that it's there. right? And I've done it before, where we store the water in the yard, for the, like our inch of rainfall. And that provides the mitigation and stuff that you're looking for. To create a little pocket somewhere on the property, I don't know if that'd be productive. But the front yard, I'll get the yard, I'll collect that water, we'll store the first inch of rainfall, it'll suck into the ground, so it's not bad out there. It's like 34 inches to modeling,
That area's gonna be mowed or not mowed?
yeah, it'll be mowed. It'll be
Okay,
mowed.
no chance of any kind of a New England seed,
I wouldn't on this one.
All right, those were my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard property. Maybe somebody else have some thoughts? Maybe I'll come back to something. Thank you.
Anybody else have any, I don't have anything else. Anybody?
The property on either side of the driveway belongs to the other two houses, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we can't really extend the wetlands on somebody else's property.
It'd be awkward.
Yeah.
Awkward? That's a good word.
And illegal. It's not neighborly at least, so.
What does that area look like, that wetlands? Is it a,
It's wooded now. Years ago, it was just a little like a, wet metal thing, but it's lightly wooded now with saplings and stuff, because it hasn't been maintained or mowed or anything. The property looks like it was old farmland that got developed in the 80s.
Bob, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Yeah, what is the zoning requirement or code for the width of a driveway? Is that 10 feet?
We go to 12 feet.
What's Woodbridge's,
I think
12 feet.
They don't, yeah,
Woodbridge's regulation? What section is that?
they had a worksheet that they published
It's
years
in here
ago.
somewhere.
All right, we're certain it is 12 though, Chris?
I just did that today, yes.
You just had occasion to look at that today?
I did. It's 18 feet for B&I and it's 12 feet for residential.
Okay, well, so.
You gotta get a fire truck in and out.
Well, that's why, so I'm wondering if maybe we could scavenge a foot here, a foot there, but I guess we can't at your driveway, so, thank you.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
I make a motion to approve?
Well, we can't, we have to wait till next month.
To
because it-
delegate that?
Well,
No.
we can't because it's wetlands.
Okay.
So basically, it seems like everybody's on board. You probably don't have to come back next month, Al, if you don't have to, if you don't have anything else,
It's always a
so,
pleasure.
yeah. But thank you.
Touche.
Yeah. Good design, good explanation. Thank
He's
you.
gonna keep the seat warm and stay for the next
Yeah.
Oh,
one.
that's right too, yeah, yeah. Just switch your maps around. All right, so moving right along, the, application for 268 Newton Road, application for residential site development of lot. This is the Madden property that we
Yes.
approved, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay. What are
Hopefully
you
this
doing
is the
differently?
last
Pardon
time
me?
hopefully this is the last time you'll see this. Again, it's Alan Shepherd. This is the Madden property.
Can I interrupt, Mr. Chairman? Is this the signature, Chris, of Jesse Rubel?
Yes.
Okay, I recognize the name. I'd like to disclose that Jesse and I played softball together in the past in a Woodbridge softball league on Sunday mornings. I've never had a business relation with Mr. Rubel, as I'll call him, so.
Did
just
you
wanted
get
to make
along,
that-
did you get along with him?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
He was a better ball player than me.
That's what he
yes.
said, yeah.
Say that again, Chris? What'd you say, Chris?
I said, that's what he said.
Did he, huh?
Yes.
So, yeah, I wanted to make that,
Okay.
so I believe I can still be impartial,
Oh, yeah,
thank you.
yeah, that's fine. Good, Alan.
So again, this is a property that, you've seen us twice before on. The client was, the owner, first owner of the property was gonna sell the property, then he was gonna build his own house there. Well, first he was gonna build his own house, then he was gonna sell it. He had a, hip, fell down and broke his hip, and that decided that he wasn't gonna build a house. So now they sold it to my client, so they are actually gonna build this house. So the setbacks that we have are less than what was approved before, because we rotated the house. So it's not, you know, I guess not, it's facing southerly instead of easterly. That allows us to move the house a little farther away from the wetlands. Obviously, the same conditions would apply. There's a tennis court out there. Our activity wouldn't go past the stone wall, that's past the tennis court. So it's like moving food around on a plate. But it is in a regulated area, so we gotta come back in, just, you know, go over that. So, I did show a possible future pool on the backyard, just to be on the safe side, so we don't have to come back in again if someone wants a pool. We're not proposing it to build it at this time or with the house, but we leave that open and just wanted to designate an area. Still, that would be where the old tennis court would be, so we're not encroaching in new areas.
Al, can you just summarize again what you did with, as opposed to what we approved before as
Yep.
far as moving the house?
We had a plan that faced Newton Road. If you can see it. So we had a plan like this
Okay.
that faced Newton Road. And we were 49 feet with the house, 49 feet to the house and 41 feet for the deck.
All right.
And then, this one is 59 to the deck and 69 to the house. So it's a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But, you
Well, the
know,
next-
still.
Will the next one you come back with be even better, or?
I
No.
guess, I didn't think that one through. But this one looks like it's gonna be built.
Mhm.
My client's here is gonna, he's built other houses and he's gonna build this house.
Yeah, I also noticed that, you straightened the driveway out a little bit, so that I think it's set up better on the interchange,
Yeah, I
intersection of
think-
the road. You still have to do a little work on the sight line, but, the other driveway was a little more, well, it was within that stone wall, which would have been nice,
Yes.
but it came out on the curve.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
this one, I wanna get it up by the telephone pole as close as I can.
Yeah, I thought that was an improvement too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is involved with clearing out the old tennis court? Is it paved or just a?
It's paved, we'll have to take it up, get the, asphalt off the site, we're not gonna bury it on the site.
Yeah,
The base underneath there should be pretty good, cause it looks like the tennis court held up pretty good over the years, you know? But the asphalt we'll have to remove off-site. Just like taking out a driveway.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
What has determined, is this a stone wall?
Yeah, the stone wall is
So is that
right in the
existing?
back of the house,
Is that existing?
yes.
Okay.
And we'll fix it up and that'll be our line in the sand, if you will.
Build it to 3 feet, you say?
Yeah.
So what I would like to see is, Chris, does the commission have markers that it has approved, this area is a wetland area?
We have
Yeah.
markers, we have conservation markers.
Yeah, markers. So what I'd like to, my suggestion would be that we use those one of the conditions of approval would be, or I'd like to see markers along that fence so that we could avoid lawn creep or the like, which I'm seeing more and more out in the field, unfortunately. The homeowner just over time, either initially or over time, fails to appreciate that this is a special regulated area, or upland review area. So, you see any objection to Mr. Rubel?
I would think 50 foot on center, is that fair enough?
That'd be standard.
Yeah.
So that would track your limited disturbance line.
Yeah, so we don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Excuse me, anyone have any other comments? this one we don't have to wait till next month to act on, since there's no activity in wetlands areas. Plus, we've already seen it a few times, so. But so if you have any other comments, now's the time. No? Jack, do you have anything? No?
Did we have a permit issued last time for this?
Yeah, we issued a permit.
We
for
issued
the-
a
for the
permit.
old
So we're
house.
gonna do a new permit or modify the one that exists, or
This is a new permit.
new permit?
Anybody else with any comments?
So, yeah, just those markers along the limits of disturbance.
What's on the other side of the existing stone wall? Between the
It's
stone
wooded.
wall and the wetlands?
It's slightly wooded, yeah, and
Just
then it
wooded
goes
area,
into.
and you're not gonna do anything in there?
Not gonna do anything to it. So it's clearly defined out in the field.
So what you're looking for, Stephen, is the markers to go where, at the silt fence line? I see a limited
No, no,
disturbance
no,
line
right on
in the
the-
wall.
Right on the LOD, limited disturbance line?
Yeah, but where does it go after the wall? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, it carries down toward, I guess that's a southerly. So-
Easterly. Yeah.
It's just behind the wall.
So is it the 380 line or?
I would,
Oh, there's a limited disturbance.
Yeah.
I'm
See
sorry, I
that
see it.
line?
Yeah, I see it now.
So that tracks, so that
Yeah.
encircles the property, if you could do that.
we'd
Okay.
we would be glad to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else? Otherwise, so do we have a motion to approve the application, with usual stipulations and markers along the limit of disturbance line as shown on the map?
Well, you're gonna
Thank you.
defer it, you have to defer it to me, you still can't act on it.
Oh, that's right too, yeah,
Nice try.
yeah. Okay, I was trying to get rid of something.
Yeah, well, you
have to
can
worry
defer
about.
it to me and get rid of it.
Okay, so we'll defer to you with the suggestion that the
Conservation markers.
the conservation markers along the limited disturbance line, okay, all right. Do we have a motion to delegate it to Chris then, under those conditions?
So moved.
Okay, do we have
I'll
a second? Jack seconded, all in favor? Aye, opposed, abstentions?
Thank you.
Done with this one at least, so. And the other one you don't have to come back on, so,
Okay.
unless you change your mind and want something different, so.
Yeah, I'd like to compliment you on presaging a lot of our wetland concerns. So I appreciate that you have measures on the map that alert us to the distances between the disturbance, and you note limits of disturbance. So those are things that I look for, and you put them on as a matter of
Some
course.
of you
Thank
may
you.
not know, but when I worked with land engineering many years ago, I was the reviewing engineer for Woodbridge. You
But
know
when
that.
Jake Keeler was,
Jake
yeah,
Healy.
yeah,
Right, I was the guy that reviewed.
yeah, I've been here long enough to know that, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Alan, yep. Okay, moving right along. Anyone here on the land trust thing?
Huh?
So before you get to yours, we'll just have a brief discussion on this. What the land trust folks had called me and asked me to put on the agenda, and we could talk about it after we deal with Amity Road, but I just want to start the discussion. They want to, and they're getting grant money to put pollinator pathways and remove invasives in various spots. There's like 3 phases of what they're looking to do. And they just wanted a sense of whether that's something we think is good. And so no matter what happens with the country club, their thinking is this work will be something that will be incorporated, whatever use of the country club is put to at some point in time. So it's not like they're doing things that are just gonna be bulldozed over or whatever, because they're all within an upland review area or in the wetlands as far as removing invasives and putting pollinator things in and that kind of stuff. So I told them we'd talk about it, just give them some feedback at some, after discussion. But, from my standpoint, it just sounds like a, sort of a no-brainer, but,
Yeah, it's great. Is there anything that would exist that would prevent whatever development was coming in to destroying that?
from what they told me, and we don't have formal application or anything in more detail, but the Southwest Conservation District put together that information that's in your package, that it's so close to the wetland area that, one, it'll help preserve things until something may be done someday, and if nothing is ever done, it's something that should be done
It should be
anyway.
done anyway.
So, but they'll come back with more details, but sort of
Yeah.
look through the package.
Yeah.
Are they seeking, can we call it like an advisory opinion or
Well,
comments on it all?
They just.
Not a permit for anything?
No, they're not, they don't have formal application now, but they just want, they didn't wanna waste their time if we're gonna say, no, you can't take those invasives out, you know, you gotta leave them there, or that it doesn't make sense, but I don't know, until we have formal
Yeah,
thing to look at, we don't know really what the exact plan is, but that package talks about generally what they think to do and what they're gonna do in different places.
if they take the invasives out, are they gonna replace them with?
Yeah, it's either wetland species or pollinators or something
Yeah,
that would
okay.
help, you know, the environmental aspects of
They're just not
the
gonna
wetland
clear the
area.
land and.
No.
The
It-
list of potential plantings was long.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you had
And-
many species that would be appropriate for each segment of that.
Okay.
Yeah, and before they apply for money and grants, they just wanted to be sure they weren't going the wrong way. But
I think it's a,
I think it's a
great
good
idea.
idea,
Yeah, I think so.
so.
Because
Okay,
the stream that's along Johnson, which is pretty much a straight shot, they wanted to kind of reestablish as more of a meandering kind of thing than the ditch that it is right now.
yeah, there's, you know, and, you know, all the, just the debris and, you know, fallen trees and that kind of stuff in some of the areas would be good, yeah.
Are we, is this gonna be on our agenda for next month or our next week so we can talk about this more earnestly?
Oh, sure, yeah, read through
Because I
the stuff,
haven't
yeah.
looked at it entirely yet.
Okay,
But I think
Yeah.
it would be a good exercise for us to chat about it.
yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, like I said, we have nothing to approve or consider in specifics yet, but.
time frame.
No, but if we sort of think about it now, when they do come, because some of their stuff would be seasonally affected, you know, when they do come before us with specific proposals, then at least we've thought about it and sort of, you know, nothing's coming at us blind. And it's interesting too, just from our own use as to what we could do with other people in the event they come in with, you know, similar situations where they need to either plant a wetland area or remove invasives or something like that. It would just give us a little bit more education, actually. So,
Just kind of anecdotally, so I listened to NPR, and there was a fascinating report about 3 or 4 months ago. The state of Massachusetts now is requiring that there be pollinator species underneath solar panels you see on the highways and on people's properties, and that the state will not grant permits for the construction or installation of these facilities unless there is more thought to what's going on underneath, more environmentally productive use of the property. And there's actually money for the utility companies that do this to encourage them to start this program. At some point the money will dry up, and I thought of that as I saw this last solar array, but that construction does not lend itself to
Yeah.
this.
well, you know, as I was driving back and forth on the Mass Pike 3 times in the last 10 days, you know, the right-of-way along the Mass Pike has tons
Littered
of
with
solar.
these.
Yeah, but there's nothing growing underneath them yet either, so the state may try to impose something on them itself, so in that regard.
Well, the state of Connecticut encourages the agro, what they call it, voltaic, so they want to either see pollinator stuff underneath or an agricultural use. There's some places that are having sheep grazing underneath, which is what we were supposed to see, you know, up on the park that we have off of Park Lane. They were gonna bring in sheep to keep the,
Oh, really?
yeah. And then, you know, it was gonna be seasonal, so they would be there during the growing season, and then they have a shepherd or something that goes around from property to property and make sure that they have water and all that stuff, and then because it's fenced, they have a, you know, a
Yeah.
protection dog in there so that the sheep don't get eaten by something else.
Yeah,
We could add a manger, turn it into a holiday
Yeah,
display.
it kind of gets complicated as you keep adding more layers of what needs to be taken care of before you know it. We're
Because
gonna-
I asked him, I
A
said,
zoo,
you know,
a museum, yeah.
because I asked about goats, he said, oh, no, they'll jump up on the panels.
Uh-huh, that's true, yeah. Well, you know, I know as you go on the turnpike, around exit 65 there, the solar panel arrays there just have gravel underneath them, so, you know,
Yeah.
that would be an improvement, so. All we need is have the sheep escape now, so you don't hit a deer, you hit it's cheap instead, so. All right, let me get back. So next time on the agenda, we'll continue that discussion over the next month or two probably, so. Next item on the agenda is under old business is 344 Amity Road. Yeah, if you want to just come on up. So we had our consulting engineer go out there, and we had Mr. Brogy go out there. They've sent us information that caused a little bit of a concern, actually a fairly major concern. The aerial shots, and one of the things I'm trying to wrap my head around, the aerial shots from like 2022, before you purchased the property, or Mr. Ford purchased the property, don't show the amount of fill that's there now. So one of the questions I had is, was all that brought in, or what happened in
There was
that
a
period?
lot of like old shrubs and like dead bushes on top. So like from the pictures, you can only see what was there. It was kind of overgrown over like the little stream that went by. So he cleared all that out because it was full of rats and just a bunch of trash that was piled up. So not a lot of fill was brought in.
Well, I'm talking specifically about the peninsula area, because
Yeah.
the earlier maps, the GIS maps for the town, as well as the aerial photos from early 2022, sort of indicate that there were two branches of the stream that went through there, which then disappeared by 2023. So it kind of looked like there was some filling that was done.
The peninsula itself was already there.
Okay.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that's specifically.
Yeah, no, the peninsula was there, and that's where you see all like the shrubs and all the overgrown wheat basically
Okay.
was over there. And then he cleared that up.
But was the stream that separated the peninsula from the
Yeah,
house,
that's what I'm talking
was that filled in? I think that's what the
No,
question is.
no. The stream, he never altered like where the stream went. He just cleared out what was on top. So there was no stream that cut the peninsula and made it kind of like an island. It was always a peninsula.
I think that was the question.
Yeah, that's what it
Sorry, I
was,
didn't
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I probably wasn't phrasing it right. Well, like the GIS maps though, if you want, so basically, this is the area we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Where this is the stream that's no longer there, or the branch of the stream that's no longer there. So what you're saying is that there was no
That
fill
when we
done?
purchased the property, that was not there, no.
It
From what
wasn't?
I know.
Okay. All right,
Which one are you looking at?
this,
That's outside of the record for now.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
I printed that off this town's GIS.
yeah, I've seen that, yeah, I was looking at that the other
Is there a
day,
date
so.
on there?
Well, this is 2016, 2019, something like that, the GIS
Yeah, that's
map.
2019.
Yeah, okay. But I guess what bothered me was that, have you seen Mr. Brogy's report?
My sister sent me an email, yeah.
Oh, okay. So let me just back up here.
Okay.
So in 2022, it's the last page probably of the report that you got. It doesn't, it's hard to appear, to totally understand this, but the area that was now the peninsula is still looking like a wetland area that's at a different grade than the rest of the property. Again, we're, have a view from high in the sky, but it looks very different than the 2023 view of that area. If you're telling me that it looks different only because it was cleaned out and other things started growing, we don't have an elevation here to show what the level of that
Yeah,
area was. But Mr. Brogy was under the impression that that was, a wetland area in 2022. So basically, no fill was put in there, is that?
He put gravel on top after he cleaned it out, but
Oh.
he didn't like fill anything with any other like soil, anything of that. Like I said, he cleaned it all out, with like his lawnmower and stuff like that, and then he put the gravel on top. But as far as like putting, you know, other soil in and stuff, none of that was done, no.
Yeah, I mean, and when I look at the 2022 aerial, I don't see the second branch of the stream.
Yeah, like I
that's
said,
there.
it wasn't there
Yeah.
when we got it. You know, we drove the lawnmower on top and everything. Nothing was filled in.
Mhm.
It was just cleared out, I guess.
All right, so basically, I'm still struggling a little bit about what to do to make the area, a better situation. And, you know, you're also looking for our view as to what should be done, you
Yeah.
know, to finish cleaning it up. You know, our engineer suggested some plantings. To be honest with you, I would rather go out there and take a look again now that I've seen what two of our professionals have told us, before I'm in a position where I can sort of decide what to do or what I think should be done. I mean, it's not for me to decide, but for us to decide. But let me let somebody else speak before, you know, I take up too much time on the floor. Chris,
Well,
do
we
you have
should
any
just
thoughts?
mention one thing, that we are kind of late in the growing season
Yeah.
for any plantings to happen.
Yeah.
I was out there with Jim Preedy when he went out. I wasn't out there when Martin went out, and I didn't see any erosion anywhere. The only point that Jim had mentioned was on the outer portion where the stream goes, but that's not anything that Mr. Forte has touched.
Yeah.
You know, he had just said that at some point, you know, that would be an area that could be armored just because it's on the outer portion of the thing. But it has nothing to do with any of the work that Mr. Forte did. You know, there wasn't, we walked along that where the stream came down out of the wooded area to the north, and there was nothing in there. Jim did look at the concrete that had been placed in the stones, and he said, well, typically you wouldn't want to close the stones up so that water could weep out, because there was the driveway above it. There wasn't going to be any water that was going to get in
Yeah.
there, so that was not an issue to him. He did look at the old railroad ties. They are old railroad ties, you know, they could get thrown away, but they're old. They're not something new that was brought in there, and whatnot. So that's why he was saying, you know, in his looking at it, that, and of course, given where the road is right there, Amity Road is right there, and you've got,
See on this one,
whatever's
everything.
coming in from this driveway is nothing compared to what's coming in from Amity Road and whatnot. So when I was out there with Jim, you know, his main thing was, you know, revegetating the area, but I would agree. Oh, and then we did see the, you know, it's like a rectangle that comes out from underneath. He seemed to think that it might have antedated the French drains that Mr. Roy had mentioned had been put in at the last meeting. It looked more like perhaps footing drains that came out from there, because it's old. It's not something new that's been done by Mr. Forte. So it appeared to be something of a front, you know, perhaps a footing drain that came out there, but there aren't any drains in the garage, so there's no, you know, danger of, you know, if it was a commercial building which had floor drains, that, you know, something might be inside and you might get contaminants in from that coming out. But it appeared to be more like an exit for a curtain drain or something. But it antedates, you know, you could see where there was some newer work that had been done where the peninsula goes out on the south side. But where that rectangle is old. That's, you know, as far as Jim could tell, that would have antedated
Yeah.
the ownership of
Purchase.
Mr. Forte.
All right.
So, I mean, my
Yeah.
recommendation would be if you wanna go back out and take a look-see based on what you've received, to have a better information thing, that would be a logical thing to do, because at this stage of the game, I think it's too late in
Yeah.
the season to do effective plantings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
I
something
agree
we can
with
do
you.
next for the spring. Have you heard?
Sure.
Thank goodness for Mr. Brogy. I really feel, validated in my concerns about the property and what went on here beforehand. He really identified so much of what I brought to the attention of the commission last month, so I'm really pleased about Mr. Brogy's report. And he highlighted a lot, and I think there's work by the owner here to identify what went on out there, and then I think there's work that's going to have to be done to put the property in a better condition than it is now. But I took a look online and I saw what the property, I saw the listing for this property back in 2022, and I printed some pages off the internet about what the backyard looked like just a few years ago, and I made some copies for us, so I'm going to keep one down here. I'm going to pass one this way, so one for maybe the three of you, one for the three of us, and I'd like to give you one too, so you know what we're looking at.
Yeah, I'll get it done.
And so, when this property was listed for sale, and it was listed with 31 different photographs, and there were pictures of the backyard in the listing. And, the backyard is almost entirely vegetated with living understory. And, I'll show a little bit. So this is what apparently the property looked like just prior to the transfer to the current property owner. And the vegetation was coming all the way up to that cement block that we saw, like a patio area maybe, or maybe a well cover, I'm not quite sure, in the backyard. And this is what I'm talking about. You'll see that, if you'll recall, that concrete slab, that whole backyard was wooded. There was no, one cannot see the peninsula. So there's a lot of activity that went on this property after the property was acquired, it seems, and before the disturbance that brings the property to our attention today. So, and all that was done without a permit, and we've gotten conflicting stories about what the rear looked like, over time. So I'm a little concerned, disturbed about that.
Let me just give it to Jack first, and then I'll get done with you.
So,
Well, I
hang on, just let me, if I can finish. And I'm wondering why, the peninsula, as we're referring to it, appears to be a driveway extension. And there's
Well, I would kind of like to go out there again with those pictures, and then, some of it's deceiving because they do acknowledge that they removed some of the vegetation along the stream bank there. But I would kind of like to go out there and orient myself based on the pictures and what's there now versus what was there in the listing pictures.
Okay, well, we did see, let me continue a little bit. We did see what's there now, because we were out there for that site visit just a month or so ago. So markedly different today than it was back in 2020.
I'd rather look at with the pictures in hand to
Certainly.
see what's different, so.
Certainly. But I believe we could take our cue from Mr. Brogy a bit on what we should be doing next, where he recommends, he makes certain recommendations, and I believe it might be incumbent at this point now to shift some of the responsibility for what this commission's doing onto the property owner and have them retain a professional to produce a report about what went on there, and then in concert with what Mr. Brogy has suggested, what kind of remediation activities would benefit the property out there. So I'm not quite sure our going out there is really going to enlighten us anymore about what to do going forward. I think this is a matter for professionals. I don't believe this commission ought to get in the business of devising remediation plans. I don't know why, I get the sense we're a little apologetic about our regulations and how we address unpermitted activities. So I believe that there's work by the, ordinarily, I came from another commission, and we're very active. We have very educated applicants there at Quinnipiac University and the such in Hampton, and we wouldn't think, when I ran the commission there, I would not think of moving forward unless I got a report from an engineer by the property owner about what actually went on out there. I would like the property owner to go on record about what their activities were out there, so we can figure out how to restore it to what it was.
I'd rather go out there again now that we have a little bit more background, both from Brogy, from Preddy, and your pictures from the listing agreement. We can't do anything about it right now at this time of year anyway, so.
Absolutely.
I think a little bit more research by us and whoever, is interested in doing that would probably be a better first step before anything, we go any further. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. Whatever the consensus is, we'll definitely
It's a
do.
little hard to tell, but it seems to me that what's growing there is not native shrubbery of any sorts.
Mhm.
So in a sense, they've removed invasives and nasty things. If we might end up with something with more native plantings if we're able to figure out a plan.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
to me, none of these new pictures help me understand if the peninsula was there or not there.
Right. And to be honest with you,
Not intended to.
yeah.
Right, well, if they weren't selling the house.
But that was,
they did that.
but that was Brogy's big issue, basically, that it
Well,
should be
no,
removed.
he says it might not have been
Yeah,
there, but
that's-
you can't tell from these either way.
I know, and to be honest with you, we Yeah. sort of have to, unless we have proof to the contrary, we sort of have to believe what
I agree.
people testify on.
Well, I think
if
when
they
you
testify
look at the,
credibly, yes.
the photos from 2019, it's clear that there was something that jutted out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so something was there.
Mhm.
When Jim and I were out, I think Gina's right, what was starting to come up on the far side where Mr. Forte had said, there was all this stuff that he was removing, the tires, the machinery, that kind of stuff, that he couldn't remove without cutting it down. What we saw coming back up over there was Japanese knotweed. And, multiflora rose. So, I
Yeah,
don't know.
those
I
are
don't-
opportunistic species, yes.
To me, I think it would be beneficial for you to go out. I don't see this as detrimental to the environment as we saw on Wolf Tree where we had object filling of a wetland going on where we needed that kind of thing.
Well, and plus whatever remediation efforts may finally be recommended aren't seasonally appropriate yet, so
They're not
therefore
seasonally
we have
appropriate.
a couple months where we could, before the snow, we could go back out there and just take a look at that. That's sort of my.
You think we're gonna get snow?
Or until
Well, at least rain's light.
everything starts growing again, so, if that happens before snow again. But, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just want to read, I'd like to read 2 sentences from Mr. Brogy's report. At the end, he writes, "It is recommended that the fill materials be removed from the former wetland area and that the wetland area be restored to its original condition. This will require survey, engineering, and environmental consulting to develop plans for approval, including details of means and methods for fill removal and sediment and erosion control, as well as wetland restoration, soil, and planting specifications." He'd already stated earlier that he saw that a lot of that fill had washed into the water course, so we could go and take a look. No objection to that, but I do believe that going forward,
From 22?
I think the
When we bought the
Do you
owner,
have pictures?
there should be some,
You can see here.
the owner should produce a report,
This is from
just
2022.
just as Mr. Brogy suggests.
Can you send me those?
And he's our commission's consultant.
So she's got some pictures from when they bought the property that I'm sorry, your name is?
Mariana, sorry.
Mariana. Mariana's gonna send to me and then I'll share with you guys and whatnot.
Okay.
That'd be great.
That's really the key, we need to know what the property look like when they water it. If they did do this filling, I don't disagree with Steve, but if they didn't do the filling and just
Right.
did some modifications or, whatever, they claim they did, it's,
I mean, what was interesting when I went out with Jim, and you can verify it when you go out, is that along where the cement was that Stephen had seen, that was older rock.
Right.
And then you had the newer stuff that was on that same side going west. But on the opposite side of the peninsula is old rock.
Okay, see, that's what I missed, and I didn't see.
So,
there.
you know, in my own head, it didn't, you know, I was trying to figure out what was out there and whatnot. So I truly think it would be good for you to go out and take a look-see. Certain Marty is very knowledgeable and whatnot, but I also
Well, he's not
remember
a-
when the area
he's-
below it was a turkey farm and, you know, dotted with white turkeys before Thanksgiving. And
And
then,
just one final point too is, I haven't seen any provision for intercepting the stormwater that runs off the driveway
Right, yeah.
and perhaps off of Amity Road too, before it gets into the water course without any pre-treatment or so. So I'd like to remind Mr. Brogy about that needing to be done, and I wanted to
Jim
put that
did
on the
not
record.
think
Excuse me
that
one
was
second.
necessary when he was out there.
So that it would remind me that that was another area of concern out there. Yes, Chris?
That was not something that Jim was particularly concerned about, given the traffic that goes on Amity Road. And if you go to Brookside Market and the cars are pulling in there and the stream is right there, so this is not a corridor which is, you know, one car or two cars in a driveway is a little bit overkill.
Okay.
Quite frankly.
I would respond to that by saying that here we have an activity that created a condition. Whatever happened at Brookvale's not on our plate. I have no idea what's going on there. So I'm not sure it's apples and
I'm
apples.
just saying that I
but-
think you're being a little bit too overkill on this, and we'll discuss it after the meeting has closed.
Well, so I believe that, so I think that that's another area of concern too, is intercepting that stormwater that now has a pathway into the street. And-
But it looked like it was only about a foot or so of new asphalt at the end of the driveway, and the rest of it had been there historically.
That makes that connection, I think. So, you know, I'm just a wetland commissioner, so, but that's a concern I see. And yeah, I may be nitpicky, and I may have a full knowledge of our regulations. I may be an experienced wetland commissioner, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Thank you.
All right, appreciating Stephen's concerns, but I think in order for us to make a reasoned evaluation here, I would like to go back out. You know, we don't have to have, if everyone else doesn't feel like they need to go back out, that's fine. But before I can go any further with this, I really need to take a look at it, so.
That makes sense.
So it's up to, you know, so do we wanna schedule a regular site visit, or do we each wanna go out there separately? What's the preference
I
here?
think a site visit where we can speak with each other
Yeah.
is a good idea.
Yeah,
Well, you really
Well,
can't
we're
speak
We're not
at
supposed
that
to
site.
speak with each other.
but we can.
But a full
look
site
around,
visit,
so-
I agree. Full site visit,
Yeah, I
yes.
think a full site visit's better. 'Cause,
Okay, all right then. All right, so bottom line is we need to go back out there and take a look. And we will talk near the end of the meeting as to what day is good for us. And then Chris will communicate that to you, and probably be helpful to have somebody else there, you know, you or some
Yeah.
of your family members.
We'll be there, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right then.
And then I'll send you guys the pictures that I have from
Yeah,
22.
please do, because
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'd like to
Yeah,
go
we need
out
to
there
know.
with pictures of what it looked like when you bought the place, as much as you can show us, you know, taking a view from 10,000 feet up isn't as helpful as seeing
Yeah.
something from the ground, so,
course.
okay?
Alright, sounds
All
good.
right, okay.
Thank you.
So we'll continue this matter. Are we out of time on this, Chris, or?
Yeah, we do need an extension of time from you.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just
So-
have to send an email to Chris saying you are agreeing to extend the time on the
Okay.
application, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Somewhere in the email chain, somebody's got my email.
Okay, yeah, they do.
Bruno does, somebody's got it.
When you send the pictures, you'll send the extension
Yeah.
approval.
I
Alright,
can
yeah,
send
of
you the
course.
form and
Alright.
we'll trade stuff back and forth.
Alright,
Okay,
sounds good.
all right, thank you.
No problem. Have a great night.
All
Yep,
right.
thank you for
This
coming.
will be continued.
Thank you.
All right, I lost my agenda, hold on a second, here it is. Next thing on the agenda, any correspondence that we need to talk about or deal with?
No.
No? Okay. Enforcement officer report. Any problems going on, Chris, that we need to talk about?
I want to talk about one after the meeting is closed.
Okay.
Other than that, I did go out to 106 Seymour. There is a cone that's out there. It's up into the grassed area where the limit of clearing was. When I went out there, I took pictures. I've frankly been busy doing this since I went out. But there's at least 10 feet of normal vegetation in most of the area between the lawn and that first man-made pond. But there is a little incursion area that I think needs to be, pulled out and replanted with probably just a seed mix to let it come back up. But there's some stones in there that are bigger that are gonna hinder that kind of stuff. If you want them to revegetate part of that slope, I can't tell you, hasn't been any rain since it's been vegetated, so I
Yeah.
can't tell if
it-
there's grass that's coming in and it's grass, it's not weeds. But there is as I say, it's probably 10 feet of, natural, if you wanna call it natural, it's weeds and whatnot that are undisturbed between the pond and the thing. I will send you the pictures that I took and you can discuss it some more at the, cause again, it's too late in the season to do any plantings and whatnot. Other than that, the site is, there's no erosion, but we haven't had any real rain since August, so I can't
Yeah.
tell you that there would be.
Did John Paul go out there and mark the area? Is
He
that-
did, he put out some little, orange cones to, he went out, I contacted him and he was kind enough to go out and do that.
Okay.
So are the cones in the location where the
Yep.
map showed limits of disturbance?
I was asked to have John go out and mark where the edge of the limit of disturbance was. I didn't remeasure it because the chairman had said, rather than me measuring it,
No, not
we
that
were
you
gonna
measured it.
have John do it. So I am assuming, and we all know what that does, that where he put the cones is where I asked him to put the cones.
At the limit, yeah, good, thanks. I didn't know, if he put them all on that line of disturbance, yeah.
Okay. All right, then, if you wanna send the pictures out when you have a chance.
I will.
Okay, so site visits, what do you wanna do as far as Amity Road goes? Do we do it, daylight is at a premium and there's none at this point, so I guess we have to do.
Saturday.
It means a Saturday. It's a tough time of year with everybody running around different places, and kinda should do it before the snow comes. You wanna do it this Saturday, or you wanna do it, before, this way we don't get between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or you wanna do it the second Saturday in December? What's everybody's preference or availability?
How about the first Saturday in December?
Sure, we could do that. We gotta give her time to get the pictures to you that we.
I'm sure she's gonna send them
Yeah.
to me.
I hope her email goes through.
My emails to them and their emails back to me have been coming through.
Oh,
Yeah.
so if she just hooks onto a thread, she'll be okay.
Okay.
They have my email address, so she should be able to.
Yeah, but I can't get through to you.
Really?
Yeah, I know you and Jack have issues
Okay,
getting
maybe
through.
because we have, okay, that's a problem at our end, all right.
Well, you want, first Saturday, December, this coming Saturday, what's everybody's preference?
Good for you.
Yeah,
I have no preference.
yeah, I'm okay either day.
Oh, this coming Saturday
You think that's too quick?
But we do need the photos.
Oh, this
Yeah.
Saturday's gonna be rain, is Saturday, are we
No, it's
expecting
not gonna
this
rain,
fall?
it's
Don't
gonna
do
rain
that.
tomorrow and then,
Tonight, tomorrow, and
Part of Friday.
Yeah, if we're lucky.
This Saturday should be,
Saturday the sun will shine.
You
okay.
think we
Let's
should
do
wait
it
till
season.
I
December
was
one,
thinking
or-
that, got confused when Thanksgiving is. It's
It's
next
so
week.
late, it's so late this year, so. What do you want?
Can we have you confirm on Friday afternoon that you've received the photos? Because I really think we need to see.
Oh, yeah, we definitely got,
we
yeah.
do.
So
You're
if we
definitely
haven't
doing
gotten
it.
photos, we don't wanna go out there on Saturday.
So you wanna do
So-
this Saturday if we get the photos, and then if not, then Saturday,
Yeah,
not December, the
It'd be the
first.
seventh.
So either November
7th, yeah, not-
twenty-third or
like
December
keep it-
7th.
Yeah, okay, so let's plan on this Saturday at 9? What time's it get light out now? Oh, it is.
It's well lit.
It's light at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I don't want to, that's too early. You wanna do 8 on this Saturday or 8 on the 7th as a fallback?
Yep.
Is that
Say
too
that
early?
again?
8 on this Saturday or 8 on the 7th
Sure.
as a fallback?
Sure.
All right, let's do that then. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to tell, call her tomorrow or email her tomorrow and just ask her to send the photos.
Well, I'll email Bruno, who can email her, because I don't have her
Oh,
phone
yeah,
number.
okay.
I'm
And-
getting to know the family.
Well, if you want to email them to me, well, you can email them to everyone. I'll bring
No, once I
multiple
get them, I'll
copies.
send them to
I'll bring
everybody.
multiple copies when we walk anyway, so. And, then we'll see what we can see. All right, approval of minutes. Jean, you're up.
First page, clear. Second page,
Are they just corrections?
yeah, well, yeah, there's no change in the meaning, just,
I mean, if you just want to give them to me and they do
Okay, I
it
can
subject
do
to your
that.
corrections, that's fine.
very,
No substance, just.
no
yeah,
substance
okay.
change, just changing
Just
the
picky things.
when to went. A little bit of punctuation.
Okay, that's fine. All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes subject to Jean's editing?
Go ahead.
Okay,
So moved?
Steven moved, Jack seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? All right, do we have anything else we have to talk about this evening?
No, thank you, good job.
Anything on anybody's plate? No? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Dave moved, we have a second?
Sure.
Josh seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions, we're done. Looks like 8:32, 8:31 from there, okay. All right, thank you, everybody. Another